Wrestling fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
I'm back, so deal with it. Let's do this! Finally, The Rock has come back!
Live TV is awesome.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome back, folks, to WrestleRant Radio. I am Graham Jason Matthews for July 21st, 2015, and there is no time to be wasted, as today's entire episode is dedicated to my hour-long conversation with a longtime friend of the show, co-host of the weekly wrestling talk show, Jamie Lee Mack. We're talking all about the Battleground pay-per-view from Sunday night. Our conversation was recorded only hours before Raw, so we have no knowledge of the SummerSlam matches. We had no idea that Brock Lesnar versus Taker would be set in stone for the pay-per-view. We had a good idea of it, of course, but we do talk, myself included, mostly me just talking about why we should get a triple threat match for the pay-per-view, so that was my bad. But still, we got plenty of news and notes from the pay-per-view on Sunday night and kind of shaping up the card for SummerSlam and so much more. It's an awesome conversation. You're not going to want to miss it. And that basically takes up the entire show, so no thoughts on Raw here today. It was a good show, really nothing to dissect other than that amazing Undertaker Brock Lesnar brawl. I mean, I'll talk about it here in the show. You'll hear it in my conversation with Jamie. But initially, when it really looked like we were going to be getting Lesnar versus Taker one-on-one for the pay-per-view, I wasn't sold. You know, the match at WrestleMania last year was so bad, and it's been so long since then. I know Taker was in a different place, and he was not feeling well at that time. He's in so much better shape now than he was then. But still, I was not sold on seeing that match again at SummerSlam, which I will be at in only 33 more days from speaking from right now. But anyway, though, but after that brawl last night, I am officially sold on that match. That was incredible, just the intensity, and it's amazing how just one pull-apart brawl can just change your perception of any one match with just one brawl. It's crazy, you know, but that was a great highlight from Raw last night. Not a lot of other, blockbuster moments. A lot of good stuff. I enjoyed the women's matches and the main event and a few other things as well, so there's really no need to go into a Raw review anyway. But as I mentioned, today's episode is dedicated to my entire conversation with Jamie Lee Mack. Let's get into it right now. Hey, Jamie, what's going on, man?
Hey, not too much. How about you?
Doing good. You psyched after Battleground last night?
Oh, yeah, I saw it. Yep.
What were your initial reactions? You like it? You hate it? A lot of people were kind of split down the middle.
Battleground, I thought it was a good show. It's probably not the, I definitely wouldn't call it, the best show this year, definitely, but, overall, I thought it was worth the, if I had to rate it out of, $9.99, I'd probably give it, a good, maybe, $7.50.
That's good. So. That's good. I'd probably go around there too. Either $7.50, $8. I'd go around too. But kicking off the show, well, before the show got underway, we had the kickoff match between King Barrett and R-Truth with the King of the Ring crown on the line, as if anyone could care less about this match. What have been your thoughts on this feud? King Barrett winning here. Do you think this win does him any good whatsoever?
All I'm gonna just that whole fucking crown versus crown. I'm gonna say this now. Whatever credibility King of the Ring had left, because it hasn't meant, much, I want to say since Regal got it.
Yeah.
Whatever credibility there was left when Barrett won it, it's gone now, because the fact that you had this whole crown versus crown thing, Truth, he had the fucking towel as a cape, people would tell me, oh, have a sense of humor, this is funny. It's well, I have a sense of humor, but I don't find this funny. Mm-hmm. It's degrading the King of the Ring crown, and next time there's a tournament, what's the winner going to get? Going to get, in lackluster feuds over a duct tape-looking crown for the next, 2 months? Mm-hmm. That's what he's going to get? Okay. Sure, I'll take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, too. I feel like it's a fine comedy undercard feud. I mean, not over the King of the Ring. It should never have been over the crown to begin with. Because like you said, winning this thing should mean, big things for the winner, like future title shots, like Brock Lesnar back in 2002, or a Triple H or an Austin or whoever. And like you said, when Sheamus won, of course, he went on to win the World Championship a couple years later. He was already a World Champion before that point, but they booked him so terribly. King Barrett has been no different, but the biggest difference between the two is that Barrett has never been a world champion and will likely never be a world champion because of this garbage. And, with this whole storyline, too, like I said, it's comedy undercard, but do you feel like
Barrett's been there for 5 years and he hasn't been champion yet? I mean, it's I kind of met him back in May when I went to Raw. I didn't actually get to say hi or shake his hand or something like that, but I was within maybe 5 feet of him. Does that make any sense?
I count that.
Yeah, and just the way that he acted with the fans that were around me, it's this guy, he's so humble, and he's got all the tools and all the talent in the world, and this is how they're using him, and it's it feels like he's just stuck in limbo all the time, and it's once one thing gets going for him, it's like they find a way to stop it, and I don't understand.
And that's exactly it, too, because like you said, a lot of people have been taking this as a comedy feud, which is fine, but when it involves a guy like R-Truth, which, is understandable, I'm not a huge R-Truth fan, I'm very biased against R-Truth, but Barrett, like you said, I've been a huge fan of since he arrived in the scene, as you mentioned, 5 years ago, and he does have all the tools to be a world champion in this company, but because of his start and stop booking, time and time again, injuries aside, which makes, it makes no sense why this guy is not higher on the card than he is. But for it to involve a guy with as much potential as him and to see him lose R-Truth every single week and he just comes out to no reaction, it just makes me very disheartened. It's very sad to see. But I was reading a report about a week ago. Of course, this was before he won on Sunday, but there was a report saying that there were plans in place to make him Bad News Barrett again, which also makes no sense because they said,
they banned Wade.
Exactly.
Apparently now, I guess in Vince's mind, if your name is Alexander, Adrian, Antonio, and now Wade, I guess you're not good enough. You suck. Apparently that's Vince's mentality.
Apparently so, and that's the thing too. He should have lost last night, which is weird to say because I wanted to see him win, but you could have do a double DQ and get rid of the whole thing together, make him Wade Barrett again. Because the Bad News Barrett isn't much better either. Because when he was Bad News Barrett, he had some momentum, but they completely ripped the rug from underneath him. They had him stop giving bad news, which completely goes against the whole bad news gimmick. It just doesn't make any sense. They
actually had 2 chances last year to get him major heat.
With the CM Punk thing. Yep.
The Punk thing and the thing at the Rumble, number 30. That shouldn't have been Mysterio. It should have been Barrett. It's
exactly.
Oh, Brian, I got some bad news. He's not here. Right there.
They had so many opportunities to make that character, to have him get over as a heel, and then when he had some traction as a face, I mean, he never really turned, but people were starting to get into his character, and they didn't run along with that either. They just refused to go along with what the fans are, what they want to see. But like you said, the Punk thing, maybe
you would have gotten over majorly.
That would have been huge, and you would know better than I would. Did he mention it on that Jericho podcast? I don't know if you listened to it or not. Did he talk about that or not? I feel like he did.
Apparently, according to the podcast, that was the plan, but then, at the last minute, they just said, no, we're not doing it, and we're going to have Heyman do it, which is fine. I mean, Heyman cut a hell of a promo, but, again, that's another missed opportunity with Barrett.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. But, yeah, one guy's gain is another guy's loss, and that's Barrett in this case. But, I mean, only time will tell. That win last night doesn't make me any more optimistic about his future. I'm not saying he needs to get fired or anything like that, but leaving this company might be the best thing he could do at this point because they obviously just don't see him for his worth or don't see his worth, and it's very sad to see, to say the least. But on the actual show, though, kicking off the show, we had the hometown boy in St. Louis last night, Randy Orton, taking on Sheamus, two longtime rivals. Not much chemistry between the two, but in my opinion, put on a good match. Randy Orton emerged victorious, and coming out of this thing, the winner. So what were your thoughts on Randy Orton versus Sheamus, as well as what's next for both guys coming out of this?
Well, Randy winning didn't really shock me for two reasons. One, hometown makes sense, which is funny because WWE is like almost known for like, you know, fucking over whoever's from that town that night. But like, you know, it's Randy Orton, they're not going to do that to him. And secondly, Sheamus being the briefcase holder usually goes on a losing streak for a few months before he cashes in. So, again, Orton winning didn't really shock me, but it was a solid match. My only thing about it was, I think that if you were to put like a gimmick match on it, like maybe make it like a no holds barred or street fight or something like that.
Yes,
like, I think, like it would have gotten over maybe a little bit more. So if they do a rematch or something at SummerSlam or like even on Raw, like I think that's one thing that they should probably look at doing is throwing like some sort of gimmick match on it. Hopefully not like you know, a ladder match for the briefcase. Like, I don't think that would really go over well, but like, you know, both guys are very physical. So I'm thinking put them in a physical environment, which a street fight would work perfect.
No, I absolutely agree. I feel like their matches, their most recent matches, with the exception of yesterday at Battleground, they have not been very exciting, which is not an indication, no indictment on their characters themselves, just the chemistry they have together in feuds. And the thing over this feud is that there's really nothing to battle over. You know, it's just been random matches, and there's really been no purpose. We've barely gotten any promo time from either guy. But I was thinking the same exact thing while watching this match last night. It was a good match. I think it benefited from being in Orton's hometown, like you said. The crowd was red hot for him. But giving him a no DQ stipulation or an environment like that, you go back to Hell in a Cell 5 years ago. That was probably the best match they ever had, and I thought that was a great match. And it was inside a structure of some kind. The six-pack challenge, like when it's other different match types other than just standard one-on-one, that's when they perform their best work. So I feel like that, you know, hopefully they blow it off tonight, or this was the blow-off, because like I said, there's nothing to be feuding over. Unless Orton wants that briefcase, and maybe you could do a ladder match, but like you said, I wouldn't really be in favor of that either. That doesn't make much sense either. So hopefully they either blow it off tonight or next week, and SummerSlam's in 5 weeks, so there's enough time where they've got enough time to blossom new feuds for both guys. But it was a good match, though. Orton goes over in the opening match of the night. And like you said, the losing guy, or the hometown guy, almost always loses in his hometown or gets embarrassed or whatever. So you have this... You have two things here, the lesser of two evils. Do we have the hometown guy lose, or do you have the Money in the Bank guy lose, who always loses? So I guess one had to give, and Orton ended up going over. But yeah, good match to kick off the show. So right after that, we had the tag team title match. The WWE Tag Team Champions Primetime Players successfully retaining the gold against the New Day. What were your thoughts on the match, and do you think the Primetime Players are the right choice as the tag team champions right now?
Match itself, I thought, from what I can recall, it was decent. I'll say this though, I want to say like Xavier Woods kind of stole the, he kind of stole the thunder from it, because he is absolutely hilarious on the outside. I think they should give him the mic that, what the hell's that guy's name?
AW. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm thinking, like, you know, just give him that mic and just tell him to avoid anything involving Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
You're golden. But as for the match itself, like, you know, was decent. I love both teams. New Day right now is probably, like, in terms of the entertainment-wise, New Day is probably my favorite thing going right now. But as for the Primetime Players, I'm just happy that they're champions right now, because I think that because I was really happy when they won them, and I was like, well, it's about damn time, because I think these guys deserve it, because not only are Titus and Darren talented, but they're also, but like, you know, just for being like, you know, just being natural human beings, like they're great. So I would say, like, yeah, I think that they're doing fine right now as champions. It's not like a legendary reign going on or something like that, but you know, I think they're fine for now, and I can definitely but definitely probably at some point within the next few months, I can definitely see them dropping the titles down to New Day, definitely at some point.
I could see that. The New Day is the only real heel tag team they have. They have the New Day, the Ascension, Matadors. I don't know what the hell they're supposed to be.
Matadors. Oh,
yeah. Thankfully, they're not on TV much anymore. But that's about it. And I feel like the next team that'll be champions, I mean, other than the New Day, of course, should be the Lucha Dragons, and it would make sense. Maybe they drop it to them in a triple threat tag team match, or they drop that back to the New Day, like you said, and then they drop it to the Dragons. I don't know. But maybe they do a triple threat tag team title match at SummerSlam. But the biggest the biggest fear that I had with this match was that I fear it would not go over well. The match of Money in the Bank, like you, I was very happy to see them win, but a lot of people were moreover shocked than anything else because they had no incentive to believe they were going to win the titles on that show. And the match was okay. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a great match. It was just kind of there. This match I thought was a lot better than that. They really didn't have much to go off of because they really haven't been given much promo time. They just kind of faced them every week in 6-man tag team matches and singles matches, and the Primetime Players won almost every single time, and that was about it. But the match last night, though, I thought was probably their best match today. I know that's not saying much, but it was definitely good. But still, yeah, I like the Players as tag team champions. The New Day are a great heel tag team. But if the New Day, let's say after last night, they got their rematch, they're done for right now. I don't know what else they do beyond this point for right now anyway, in the meantime. But who do you see stepping up as the next set of challengers for the tag team championships in the near future?
You see, that's the thing right now. I mean, like, those are the real, like, two teams that are being showcased right now. The Lucha Dragons, I mean, like, you know, I guess you could, I guess they could go with the route that, you just said the three-way there between Darren and Titus and New Day and the Lucha Dragons, maybe at some point, like maybe SummerSlam or maybe like a Night of Champions or something. But right now, it's like, you know, that's the thing. I mean, like, you know, if you have the Matadors randomly step up, people are going to reject that. You have the Ascension step up, people are going to reject that because like neither team never got over. And the Ascension was never explained, and that's the biggest thing that's stopping them right now. You explain them, people might actually start to give a damn, but because they're not explained, no one cares. I don't particularly care right now. Mm-hmm. And I was excited when they debuted. Now it's like I could care less.
I agree.
So right now, I mean, I honestly don't really know what other team besides the Dragons right now to face them.
I mean, they have Axel and Mandow. I forgot they were even a team until just like 2 seconds ago because they're never on TV. You know, I mean, more over Sandow than Axel. I think Axel is good, and I think the Axel Mania thing was awesome for him. I think it was better, when he was doing Axel Mania before he became like a Hulk Hogan imitator. But Sandow, though, man, Sandow is I don't even know. It's even worse than Barrett because he's not even on TV. It's not like he's losing R-Truth. He's not even on television. It's terrible. But yeah, the tag team division, I mean, it's starting to shape up again. We got Wyatt and Harper back together, which is cool. I mean, we were gonna have.
True.
Yeah,
man. I would say maybe like Harper and Rowan, but Rowan's out. Like, you know,
yeah,
and like, you know, him being out, but you know, again, couldn't happen at a worse time. And I would say maybe Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, but Kidd's out. So, you know, like, you know, again, they're just, I mean, like that whole division right now is just getting like bit by the bad luck bug.
Yeah. You go from Harper and Rowan, who I thought, a lot of people were saying, okay, the Primetime Players is just putting the titles on them because it's just paper champions, transitional champions, whatever, before they drop the belts to the Wyatt family down the line. And of course, like you said, Rowan got hurt. Maybe they do Wyatt, but it feels like they're going to go in a different direction. We'll get to that in a minute. So they have that, and like you said, Kid and Cesaro out as well, and then the Usos too are out as well. So the whole foundation, not founding three teams, but the three best teams in that division are gone for the time being, and hopefully around WrestleMania time they all start to come back, and maybe we get some tag team match between all three teams at WrestleMania, which would be amazing. But in the meantime, at SummerSlam last year when they had a Battleground, a year ago today when they had the Usos knock off the Wyatt family, it's not like they had the Usos move on to a different challenger. They moved on to Goldust and Stardust, but that was well after SummerSlam, I think. They weren't even at the pay-per-view, so maybe they won't have them on the card. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But speaking of Wyatt and Harper, though, we had Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns on this show. The match was good on the whole. I mean, the first half of it was pretty boring, but down the stretch they picked up the pace. It was a good match. Had some suspenseful, nice near falls. And then in the end, some man with a hoodie. It was very obvious to be Luke Harper because you could see the beard. But
I think even Cole said that, Harper, and then I want to say Bradshaw said, even 5 seconds later, it's all like, who is that man in the hoodie? It's like, Cole just fucking said who it was. Not to mention the camera work.
Yeah.
Tell it was him.
Yeah, their camera. WWE's production team is great, but sometimes their camera work can be a little hit or miss when it comes to big moments like that. This is going off topic, but when they replay every single move in a match, but in replaying a move from before, they're missing the move that's happening right now. And that happened, I think, during the Cena Owens match. They were replaying maybe the sunset flip or the springboard stunner or something. And then in the meantime, he was hitting the AA during the match, and he almost won. And it was crazy. Unsurprising, but that's WWE's camera work. Going back to what we were saying, though, Wyatt and Reigns, and Harper gets interfered. We're not supposed to know who he is until after the match, but Luke Harper gets involved, helps Roman Reigns helps Bray Wyatt win. Roman Reigns takes a loss here after the match. It's revealed to be Luke Harper, as if no one didn't see that coming, but it's Luke Harper and Wyatt. They're back together, putting up a little video on the website afterwards, saying that the family is back. So what were your thoughts on the match itself, as well as the idea or the move to put Wyatt and Harper back together after all this time?
Well, my whole thoughts on the match, I'll say this about Wyatt. This was sort of like my last, this was Wyatt's last shot with me, because his last few feuds I could not have cared less about. The stuff with Dean should have been good, but it just didn't click.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
The stuff with Taker, the match at Mania was, it was good. Of course, Wyatt didn't win, and then the thing with Ryback, which came out of nowhere, random as hell, no one cared.
Yeah.
He won that, thank God. And now this stuff with Reigns, which again sort of comes out of nowhere, and that's the biggest problem with Wyatt, is not only is he just feuding with guys randomly, just at the drop of a dime, but they're also putting him in feuds where both guys need the win.
Mm-hmm.
You look at him and Taker at Mania, it's Taker couldn't lose because he just lost at Mania last year to Lesnar, and Wyatt sort of needed that big win. He didn't get it. He feuded with Ryback. Both guys needed that win because Ryback wasn't doing much at that time, and Wyatt, after he loses to Taker and doesn't even acknowledge that he lost, needed
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So he needed that win. And now this thing with him and Reigns, it's can you tell me the purpose behind it? Because, I'm still not getting it. And the build for it started off, really good. The whole, just taking some photos of him and ripping the eyes and the mouth out. And then he had that picture of him and his daughter. And I'm like, okay, this is intriguing. You now have, and right there, it's okay, I am now intrigued by this.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just gets completely dropped. Doesn't mention the daughter again. Doesn't do the photos of Reigns again. It's you had me care, and now I don't again. You had my attention for that little bit, and it didn't. And now it's gone. As for the match, it was what it was. I didn't think it was going to be like anything awesome. But the whole thing with the Wyatt family coming back. First off, that family shouldn't have split up to begin with, because look where all three guys went. Rowan went on Team Cena, got fired, brought him back. Harper won the Intercontinental title, which was neat. But again, he didn't go much, he didn't go really anywhere after he lost it. And Wyatt just put in random feuds. So now that the family is coming back, I don't know if they're going to throw in Rowan because he's out, or maybe once Rowan is back, he'll come back in, or if Wyatt will debut a new family member. But overall, I'm actually happy that the family's coming back because it's giving all of them something to do. And I won't lie, I'm probably going to give Wyatt another chance, even though I probably shouldn't. But I think I'm going to give this whole Wyatt family coming back another chance. So, again, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out.
I think it's funny because you have two of the greatest factions when they were at their prime, the Shield and the Wyatt family, too. An amazing series of matches last year, and they both not around the same time, but within a couple of months, basically. The Shield broke up in June, and the Wyatt family kind of started to disband in the fall, in September or October. And the reaction to both getting back together is the polar opposite. The Shield, you have Roman Reigns, Ambrose, and Rollins, which are all three guys. No matter how many people think, Ambrose, he goes from main eventing Money in the Bank, and he's not even on the show last night. But still, he's over as all hell. He's doing pretty well for himself. And then Reigns and Rollins speak for themselves. And people were predicting they were going to get back together on this show, maybe in the main event, reunite or whatever, maybe building towards a triple threat at Mania, which I want to see, but I don't want to see a reunion between the three guys before then, after all the feuding they've done last year. It wouldn't make any sense. But still, I feel like it's way too soon to get those guys back together. Whereas the Wyatt family, I am in a complete agreement where I feel like they never should have broken up to begin with, whereas the Shield, they pretty much did everything. They feuded with everybody. They won the titles. They went undefeated for X amount of months, 7 or 8 months. The Wyatt family won no titles. They went undefeated for a few months. They lost all of their feuds. And they really did not reach that full potential, not even close. There was so much more left in the tank when they split them up prematurely last fall. So, and I've been begging for this since the start of the year, and I'm so happy it happened. But like you said, Rowan's out for the time being. I don't know what they do with that third member. And I mean, I'll get back to the reports in a second. But yeah, going back to what you were saying earlier, with the feud between the two, the daughter stuff was intriguing, if only because it was something different. I mean, people can call it wacky all they want. It's completely unrealistic, whatever, but it's a story. By the end of this feud in the last couple of weeks, there has been no story.
We haven't seen in a while. That was the biggest thing for me. It's okay, when did they involve outside family members like this? In recent memory.
Yeah.
Last I can think of was when they brought in Ray Son Dominic for the stuff
10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stuff like that. Yeah, it's completely out of the ordinary. Exactly. It's different. And that fits the character for Wyatt, too. And I've said this a million times on Twitter and on here and whatever, but I feel like with the promos that he cuts, I mean, he's a very good mic worker, that goes without saying, but the content of his promos don't make any sense. And early on, he could get away with it because it was intriguing. You could pay it. You were glued to your screen when he was talking. But now his promo work, I mean, what the content of his promos mean nothing, because like you said,
it feels like he's rambling now.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
He's just making up words as he goes along.
Yeah, he's I'm the new face of fear, like you said, loses the Taker. So and then he still calls himself.
That's all that bothers me so much. How are you the new face of fear if you can't beat the old face?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then and Taker never commented on it, and I'm sure they won't comment on it. It's like that feud never even happened. Like you said, they just completely erased that from history. I enjoyed the match. I'm glad it happened, but there was no need for it to happen. But that happened. Even the Ryback win. I mean, he beats Ryback, and then 2 weeks later, Ryback wins the Intercontinental Championship. Why it's not even on the card? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Why was he even in the freaking match?
Exactly. He wasn't even in the chamber match. And I don't want to hear the argument from people. They wanted to protect Wyatt. When was the last time they protected him? If they want to protect him, you don't put him in feuds that he can't win. It's a lose-lose, so that's no argument to. I'm glad he won on this show. He finally backed up what he was saying, and kind of. I mean, this is only one night, so I don't want to get my hopes up too much, and I'm glad the family's back together. And I feel like that's another issue with Wyatt, the character right now. It's no, fault on him, but it felt like the character was missing something for a long time, and now that they finally have the family back together, or at least 2/3 of it, maybe he's going to start to get that mystique back that he started to lose after the family broke up. Even before that, they did wrong by his character by having him lose to Cena and Jericho once, whatever, but at least finally they're going to be starting to do something with him. But that third member is what I want to ask you about. It's SummerSlam. I've been reading some reports and whatever a couple hours ago. It looks like it's SummerSlam. From what it looks like, it might be a 6-man tag team match. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and possibly Sting, who has been rumored to be coming in for about a week or so now, versus the team of Wyatt, Luke Harper, and with Rowan out, I guess they're gonna have to find a mystery partner. So who do you think on the current roster could fit that spot well?
The Sting thing keeps confusing me. I'm like, why the hell is Sting getting involved in this? But I'm like, okay. Anyone on the current roster? I see, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, if you're going to be part of the Wyatt family, it's like you need to have a really, a real mystique to you. I mean, like, if you look at it, if you look at guys like Harper and Rowan, I mean, like, if you were to line up everyone on the roster right now, Rowan and Harper would be the guys that you, I wouldn't say, like, those would be the two guys you would notice first, but they would be one of the first guys that you would notice first because they stand out from the rest of the pack. I mean, like, they're tall, they got the giant-ass beards, I mean, like, they just look creepy. And I was on the roster right now, it's like, I can't think of anyone that fits that bill. I mean, like, some people are saying Bo Dallas, which, like, would kind of make sense because he's Bray Wyatt's real-life brother. And, I mean, like, I hate Bo Dallas, so, like, if anything to change him up and make me like him, I guess, go for it. But as for anyone on the current roster right now, I mean, I honestly don't know. So I would say that Bo Dallas, I guess, would be your best bet.
That's what I was thinking, too. I was thinking about that earlier today, that Bo Dallas would not be a perfect fit, but the most likely candidate, I guess, because I know there were rumblings of putting him and Wyatt together as some sort of new Wyatt family or a tag team, whatever. Earlier this year when he was not feuding, but he had a few matches with Ryback and whatever, and that ended up going nowhere. He had that short-lived feud with Neville, which also went nowhere. But Dallas, though, with his current character, it would make completely no sense. Absolutely not. But if they were going to repackage him into a Wyatt minion or brainwash him, like you said, you have that chemistry there because they are real-life brothers. It might work. And, I was thinking that it really doesn't matter all that much. But one
thing, too.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I actually thought of during the show last night is, like, what if they actually brought in a diva to be Sister... What the hell's her name?
Abigail, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, that would be something. I mean, I don't know who you would bring in, but, I mean, like, again, he keeps talking of his sister, so it's like, well, why not bring her in? Why not bring in someone to be that?
That's a good idea,
like that,
yeah.
I mean, that, to me, that would grab all of my, just my eyes would be glued. I'd just think, oh, okay, this is different. I like it.
Exactly. I feel like, that was something that a lot of people were talking about when he first arrived on the scene about 2 years ago, and he would bring him up all the time. And I know they did a promo where they said that she was dead, but, we're talking about Bray Wyatt here. He's crazy. Maybe he does not mean dead in the literal sense. So
maybe he just thinks that she's dead or something like that, or, like, maybe he's thinking that, like, maybe dead's, like, another word or something like that or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it's possible, like... I feel like, when that was being first discussed amongst fans and stuff about 2 years ago, people were thinking Paige, and I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean, the gothic thing I get, but she was way too over in NXT. She's too much of a great wrestler to be shoehorned into that gimmick. If they're going to be doing that, then they got to find somebody who has not been exposed in NXT TV at all. Like, it can't be I mean, Dana Brooke would be the worst possible choice, but like using her as an example, like, you know, we already know who she is, and people recognize NXT. So if they were going to bring her in as Sister Abigail, it would make absolutely no sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
exactly. I mean, like, I'm just trying to think. I've never seen her wrestle. I'm not sure if she's wrestled the match, but like, you know, what about I'm sure that not a whole lot of people would like this idea, but what about that Zara girl or whatever the hell her name is?
Oh, the Rollins fiance or whatever her name is.
Yeah, the girl that had the thing with Rollins and his genitals were showing or whatever the deal was there. Yeah. Just because, you know, again, I have not seen her compete. I don't know if she ever has competed before, but you know. I mean, like, the best guess for her is, like, you know, Wyatt's got tattoos, she's got tattoos. So, I know it's really dumb logic, but, you know, hey, why not?
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. I'm trying to think of other people that are in NXT or signed to developmental contracts that we have yet to see debut on TV. And the only reason I know of her is from that whole fiasco. And I can't think of anyone else right now. I'm sure there are a bunch of no-namers, but that could be the best possible guess for right now if they were going to do it in the near future. And the thing is that even if she's not, you know, polished in the ring, she wouldn't have to wrestle. Like, Lana's been on TV for the last year or two now, and she has never wrestled a match at all. The most physical she's gotten is slapping people, and that's it. And I'm sure, I don't know how good she is in the ring, but this Zahara girl, whatever her name is, if she's not good in the ring and they want to have her wrestle a match eventually in the 2 years that she's serving as Sister Abigail or a manager for Wyatt or whatever else is going on, she can continue to improve in the ring and developmental, not NXT TV, but, you know, just kind of behind the scenes and stuff. But I like it. I feel like, like I said before, I feel like the character is missing something. So if they were to go with something like that, a Sister Abigail, and Wyatt in interviews in the past, I've seen interviews of his where people have asked him, like, are we ever going to see Sister Abigail on TV? And he didn't say that she was dead. He might have, I'm not sure, but he kind of dances around the question where he doesn't say yes or no, because I'm sure he's leaving that door open if they want to go that route, storyline-wise. So it's anyone's guess, but I would love to see something like that kind of come to fruition. Maybe not in the very near future, like the next month or so, but at some point, maybe even later on this year, it would certainly add to or help Wyatt get back to that point where he was, you know, had that mystique about his character. So up next, we had a triple threat women's match between Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Brie Bella, a representative from all three teams. Pretty good match, easily one of the best women's matches we've seen in the main roster in some time, which kind of goes without saying. But Charlotte comes out victorious, pins Brie Bella for the win, makes her submit. And that was pretty much it. Nothing on the line, just kind of a representative of all three factions match, but good for what it was. So what were your thoughts on the match and the current women's revolution going on right now in the main roster?
I thought it was fucking great. I mean, like, you know, I will not lie. I was at my wit's end with that whole thing because at least until last Monday, and mostly because, like, I mean, part of it was because of the way that, like, they were writing for the Divas and, like, how they were booking for them and whatnot. And the other part was because of the fans. And, you know, if there's one thing that you've got to learn in any form of anything in this world is that you can never please everybody.
Exactly.
But, and really, I just remember just at the start of that segment, it was just Nikki. She was just going to be talking and whatnot, and I just thought, oh, lovely, where she's going to talk, Paige is going to come out, they're going to set up a match for Battleground, because everyone wants to see another rematch between these two, because it's gone over so well. So, so I just thought, yep, I'm about reaching my wit's end. Then Stephanie comes out, and I'm like, oh, okay. Basically says, yeah, we're changing shit up. Out comes Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte, and I'm like, okay, that wit's end is now, I'm now at my wit's beginning, so I'm happy now. But as for the match on Sunday, it was great, and hopefully we see more of that, and I never thought I would say this again, but I'm excited for where the Divas are heading now that now that we've got divas there like Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky, I mean, like, now there's a real change-up, and you can feel it now, too, which is great.
Agreed, and I feel like, there have been some complaints, understandably so, that people believe that all three women, Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha, should have been called up individually, kind of individually establish their characters and not kind of group them all up together and call them up simultaneously on the same night, whatever. But I feel like calling them up all at the same time gives us a variety of fresh matches. Say, if they just called up Charlotte, it would have been, Charlotte and Brie this week, Charlotte and Nikki next week. I mean, it would have been fresh for a while.
Charlotte and Nikki for the next, 2 months.
Exactly.
People would be excited about it for, the first 2 weeks, and then everyone would just get tired of it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel... Yeah, with three women up at the same time, you could do stuff like this, where you have different matches. You could do triple threats, which we haven't... When was the last triple threat non-title women's match we've seen in WWE? I can't think of one.
Oh, Lord.
On TV, anyway.
I don't know.
I don't want to know. I don't even want to know when the last time was. But, yeah, this is really good stuff. And, of course, they're probably going the direction after what they teased last night. Charlotte and Nikki... maybe as soon as SummerSlam, maybe they hold off, I don't know if they would do a 9-person tag team match. That kind of screams clusterfuck all around it, but they have a lot of good talent in there, but doing a 9-women's tag team match might be a little crazy. But still, there's so much freshness, like you said. I'm actually legitimately excited to see what they do, or looking forward to seeing what they do with the women tonight on Raw, what else they kick off, and hopefully in due time we get Bayley up there, and maybe one other person from NXT too, and we'll have the whole NXT 4 horsewomen, on the main roster. We can get a whole bunch of fresh matches. So yeah, I give that a thumbs up as well. In between, we go to the Big Show Miz segment was after this match, but up next we had the United States Championship match between John Cena and Kevin Owens, another magical match between the two. I don't think they're the best. I mean, it was really, really good. I thought their Money in the Bank match was better than the first one, even though the first one was my favorite. But all three have been great, regardless. A lot of good near falls. In the end, John Cena forces Kevin Owens to tap out to retain the United States Championship. So, a shocking ending, if there ever was one. I mean, not shocking in the Undertaker return kind of shocking, but just shocking in the sense that I didn't think they would actually go that route. They did go that route. It was an amazing match, but the finish kind of left a little bit to be desired, and John Cena still the United States champion. So, Jamie, what were your thoughts on the match and the very controversial finish, or polarizing finish, I guess is the word for it, coming out of this contest?
I've got three, I guess you could say three problems with the match. But before I say those, I will say the match was very good. I'm not saying that it wasn't good whatsoever, because it really, really was. But one of my problems with it is the fact that I felt like I was watching a carbon copy of Money in the Bank or Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And my second problem is Owens losing, because, he loses the NXT title to Finn Balor at Beast and East.
Mm-hmm.
So one would think, okay, he's going to win the U.S. title in the Battleground. That doesn't even happen. So it's okay, he loses. And my third problem is with the way he lost. By really submission? I don't understand it. But the match itself, though, was really good. I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch it. You definitely should. But if I were to rank their past three matches from the Chamber, Money in the Bank, and Battleground, I would probably put Battleground at number 3.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like I said, it just felt like I was watching a copy of what I saw the past 2 months. But one thought I did have was, because I know at TakeOver he's got the rematch against Balor, and we don't know what he's doing at SummerSlam. Because if they leave him off SummerSlam, That's a terrible idea.
Mm.
But what I'm thinking at Takeover, and I know a lot of people are probably not going to like this, but he beats Balor, gets his title back.
Yep.
Next night is SummerSlam. Let's say you do like a fatal four-way between Rusev, Cesaro, Cena, and Owens. Cena doesn't get pinned. Owens pins like Rusev, I guess, and he wins the U.S. title. Wins the NXT title and the U.S. title. Best weekend ever. And now that is one thought, and really, like, that's the only thing I can think of that could possibly happen. Because, I mean, like, I don't see any other reason as to why, why this happened last night.
And I mean, I don't want to say that Owens is ruined from the loss or even from tapping out, because it's nothing,
He isn't buried, I'll say that.
Yeah.
I'm getting tired of seeing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a great promo can fix it. I mean, tonight on Raw, but I feel like, I don't know. I agree. I mean, I was saying last week that, he lost the Money in the Bank clean. I would have gone with Owens undefeated for a little while longer, but it is what it is. Still a great match. And then, as you mentioned, losing the NXT title, which, again, logical, given where they were. Finn Balor's time was now, and then moving Owens onto the main roster. And, okay, that's fine, but then winning the U.S. title, that's the whole thing with the second loss to Cena, or the first loss back in Money in the Bank in their second match. I was fine with that because it felt like, okay, they got to give Cena a win eventually. And then, in doing so, they have him win the third fall, and that's it, or the third, match in their feud, whatever. And it would have made up for it, and he lost again, and then, like you said, the way that he lost was even more embarrassing. I know he said in the backstage Fallout video that he wanted to, live to fight another day, which is fine. I'm sure he'll say it tonight on Raw, but I don't know. I just feel like with Owens, he's a special attraction, and I said this from the start, that Owens should be the one guy that Cena feuds with that he can't beat, right off the bat anyway. Like, have him lose the first few matches. He lost a Chamber. And the thing is that if he was going to win this match anyway, if they're going to keep the belt on Cena, then why the hell did they have him win at Money in the Bank? That makes no sense in retrospect. The belt wasn't on the line. Owens wanted the championship anyway. He said after he lost that, now I want the title. Why didn't you want it the first time? So I don't know if they're going back and forth or if this was the plan from the start. Maybe there is some grand plan, like you said, winning both belts the same weekend, or doing a four-way, or winning it tonight. I have no idea. But I also mentioned this on Twitter, too, that they could have done a best-of-5 series, like Booker T, Benoit style, or something like that. We haven't seen it in a long time. I know TNA does them all the time, but we haven't seen one in WWE in several years. When was the last? Do you know when the last time we got a best-of-5 or a best-of-7 series was? I can't remember.
I think it was actually Booker T and Chris Benoit back from 05.
You think so?
Late 05, yeah.
Wow, yeah, so about 10 years, and if there's any two guys that could pull it off, it'd be Cena Owens, but...
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
One thing, though, that does kind of give me, just one thing that does kind of give me, a little bit of hope was when Cena hit his finisher from the top rope and Owens kicked out, which, one, legitimately, I cannot remember anyone doing that, so that was big. But one thing that Cole said, he said that, I haven't seen that look on Cena's face since he lost to The Rock at WrestleMania 28, which was 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah, correct, yeah. I didn't even hear him say that. It's great.
Which that to me is okay, psychology in wrestling matters. I'm going to say that now. It matters a lot. Mm-hmm. That right there, it's I'm just hoping that that one sequence means something. So it's there's more. Just something good will happen with this. But again, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, hopefully they can go back on that moment. And if anything, I mean, if they were gonna have Cena win regardless, I would have just had him beat him there. I mean, having him tap out was the worst case scenario. I mean, I hate non-finishes in wrestling, but in this case, I feel like it was. If they're, like I said, if they're going to keep the belts on Cena, Owens should have won here regardless. I don't care if you had a cheat or not, you should have won here. But if they wanted to keep the belt on Cena, a non-finish or interference from Cesaro or Rusev, who weren't even on this show, would have been just fine. I mean, have him go to a DQ, give Owens the win or Cena the win, then set up a 4-way for the pay-per-view in SummerSlam. And if they're going to give the belt back or give the belt to Owens at SummerSlam, regardless of whether he wins the NXT Championship, if it's a one-on-one match, then why would you bother having him lose last night? I feel like it takes away from his momentum, then adds to it, and he's a special guy. He's a one-of-a-kind talent. So to just make him another dude, on the Raw roster would, I don't know, kind of hinder his momentum. But as I mentioned, maybe there's some grand plan for all this. I mean, that's asking for a lot from WWE. But he came in with a huge bang and a lot of momentum with that clean win over Cena. So I'm hoping there is some there is some hope left for Owens going forward. So we'll go quickly on this. We got Big Show and Miz. Miz comes out, bragging to the audience about whatever, just talking about the Intercontinental Championship. Out comes Big Show.
Like he shops in fucking Hilton's closet.
Yeah, coming out as this outrageous outfit, and then out comes Big Show with his with his shirt tucked in and all, and someone tweeted. I think it was
Big Show looking like he just got back from dinner with his shirt shops. Really, that's it.
I think it was the WWE creative parody account that tweeted that, he has his shirt tucked in, so that means he's going face tonight or something like that. that made me legitimately LOL. That was pretty funny. But he comes out, he knocks out Miz, then he goes back to the back. And I like Miz, I hate Big Show, but this just felt like a waste of time. I know they needed to kill time before the main event, but...
Miz is a great heel, though. I mean, he's way better as a heel than a face.
Oh, way better, yeah. Yeah, he's great in his role. He really knows his character and he hones it well, but just...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I feel like this feud over the IC title really hasn't even been that bad. I was looking forward to the match, and I'm sure it would have done well, and I guess they wanted to kill some time before the main event or just kind of bring the crowd down or whatever. But when the reaction coming out of a segment is Big Show turning face, or is he still a heel? That's not the reaction that you want to get, because he's already turned a million times.
Does the cookie crumble? Is the sky blue? That's like that. These are the questions that need to be answered.
Exactly. Thankfully, it didn't last long, though. Yeah, Miz is great, but then less of Big Show is better. But just that, I don't know. It just felt weird. It's strange.
All I'm saying is, though, the whole thing about Ryback being out, it sucks, definitely.
Yeah.
But of all people to be out with a staph infection, it has to be Ryback.
Yeah. Get him a Z-Pack stat.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it's so funny, but yeah, it sucks, but it's also funny, and hopefully they can. He comes back healthy soon, and they don't have to take the title off of him. I know they had to do it with Daniel Bryan. He's going to be out for a long time, but from what it sounds like, Ryback won't be out too much longer. So hopefully they don't have to strip him of the championship. He's had a pretty decent reign so far.
I know it's not Bryan's fault and it's not Ryback's fault, but I'm so tired of seeing that title getting stripped. I'm so tired. I'm just tired in general of seeing titles being stripped.
Yeah.
Just that one little thing in late, I think, 2013. That got me so tired of titles not having a title holder. I got so tired of that so quick.
You mean the abeyance storyline?
Oh gosh, yes.
That word, abeyance. I hate that word. I hadn't even heard of that word before that storyline, but now every time I hear it, which is far and few between, I just throw up in my mouth. I hated that storyline so much. Which was at the same time at Battleground 2013, which I honestly thought was one of the worst pay-per-views of all time. That was an atrocious pay-per-view. But coming to think, 2 years later, how far they've come since then, but that was atrocious. And the worst thing is that after a title gets stripped, they put it up for grabs in a battle royal of all things, or a freaking tournament, or a chamber. You can't have a one-on-one match or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. It just makes the title feel like shit. So, and Ryback's doing well with it. He's not the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, but he's probably the best we've seen in at least a year or two, because this title means absolutely nothing right now. But anyway, so we get to the main event for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins defending against Brock Lesnar. The match goes all of 4 or 5 or 6 minutes. Did not last long at all. Match is pretty much a glorified ass-kicking of Rollins. Lesnar hits the F5, 1, 2, 3, and entertaining for what it was. Not a complaint whatsoever. I think it was perfect the way they booked this out. But he lands the F5, 1, 2, lights go out, Undertaker comes out, grand return, place goes nuts. and he lands Lesnar with a chokeslam, subsequent to tombstones, and we go off the show with Undertaker walking back up the ramp. So, not a huge show. I mean, it was surprising, of course, but this was rumored a couple days ago. Great to see Taker. Probably, I mean, he's not in a phenomenal shape, but he's still in a lot better shape than he was a year and a half ago when he faced Lesnar the first time at WrestleMania 30. That was atrocious. But Undertaker is back. So what are your instant reactions to the return of the Phenom on WWE programming? What do you think they're what's the direction they're going into SummerSlam?
All I'm going to say is now, it's tough as hell to avoid dirt sheets because that stuff was spoiled 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But, however, I can't say much because, I was the one that decided to read what was happening. So
True. Yeah, same here, yep.
Yeah. But after Taker being back, I'm like, hey, it's not Mania season and Taker's here. I'm happy.
Yeah.
But, for the match itself with Lesnar and Rollins, it was great. I mean, Rollins can definitely take one hell of an ass-kicking. That's one thing that we don't know yet is Rollins pretty much vanished when Taker appeared, and so did the referee, so they're missing unless they appear on Raw tonight, miraculously. But as for Taker and Lesnar right now, I just find that the timing of it is a little off because now Taker wants he wants to avenge the 21-1 record, or 22-1 now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, as for Taker and Lesnar, I'm intrigued by it. I'm hoping what happens will be great. But just the one thing that just keeps bugging me though is that people are debating who's the face and who's the heel. Here's my take on it. Does it really matter who's the face and who's the heel?
No, not at all.
No, it doesn't. No, these are two larger-than-life superstars that have a score to settle. That's it. Lesnar broke the streak, the legendary WrestleMania streak. Taker wants his revenge. Just let it happen. Who cares who's the heel and who is the face? Lesnar is not either. Taker is not either. You know who Brock Lesnar is? He's Brock Lesnar. You know who Taker is? He's Taker. That's it. So do not stress your lives, people, over who is the face and who is the heel. Just enjoy the ride. Undertaker is here in July. And in August, it looks like. So calm down. Just enjoy the ride. He's here. And I'm pumped. It's Taker,
Absolutely. And I mean, I agree. I've made complaints in the past with the women especially. I mean, we have the Bella Twins babyface, quote-unquote babyface for 1 week and heel the next, and zero character development in the Divas division, and some of the other characters, Adam Rose, Fandango, am I supposed to cheer or boo them? I don't even know. I don't care.
Yeah.
But with guys I love the word that you use, the larger-than-life characters that these guys are, these two icons, you could cheer for him if you want. Lesnar has never been a full-fledged heel. I mean, he's an amazing, he's great at getting people to hate him, but people are going to cheer him regardless. He's great at what he does. He never really turned babyface. He's always kind of been that anti-hero, ass-kicking anti-hero, and he doesn't have to turn heel again. Or Taker's never really been, he's never abided by the law either. He's the same guy that killed his parents in a fire, yet we still cheer for him anyway. You know what I mean? We're sick like that. We're sick fans, but we're cheering for a murderer. So it doesn't even matter. So yeah, I completely agree on that front too. In the match itself, Lesnar and Taker would not have been, if you told me a couple months ago, Taker's coming back for August, he's coming back for SummerSlam, who should he face? Taker, Lesnar was last on my list. But I think, it doesn't matter if he's facing him or, a returning Yoshitatsu. It doesn't matter. Like you said, Undertaker's back here at SummerSlam. It's so great. And on the point, and I was saying the same exact thing, why would he be back now to avenge the loss of the streak as opposed to a year ago? Kind of going back to what we were saying before, how the feud with Wyatt was a complete waste of time and how that was completely neglected by WWE and really never really happened. But I was thinking earlier, I guess, and it depends how they structure it. Like if Taker comes out tonight and says, I came back to avenge the loss, then it doesn't make any sense. But if he comes out tonight, or if they explain it by saying that he was the grand plan that Rollins and Kane were talking about last week on Raw, I kind of get that. Or if they have him come back because he was part of the plan, and or because he wanted to take out Lesnar for taking out his brother Kane. So I could see that if they wanted to do that, and he could also say because Rollins has always been a dick to Kane the last couple of months, maybe he goes after him too. I mean, it would have been probably better if Rollins, like, he didn't vanish completely out of midair, and I didn't see him on the back of my milk carton this morning. That, just at least explaining his absence. And, I'm hoping for a triple threat. I feel like a triple threat would be the best course of action to go here, because a one-on-one match, I know Taker's in better physical condition than he was a year and a half ago, but I feel like, I know they had amazing matches 12 years ago, but the key word there is 12 years ago. I don't think they can create that same magic. And Lesnar, I want to see him face new people. And I could see the Lesnar argument, but putting him in a triple threat with Rollins and Lesnar, it gives Rollins an opponent. You don't have to beat Lesnar, and Taker, maybe, I don't think he has to win, but maybe he gets pinned. I don't know, but still, what are your thoughts? What do you think they're going to do at SummerSlam? Do you think it's one-on-one, triple threat? Maybe they're going a completely different direction. How do you see this shaping up going into SummerSlam?
I'm thinking it's going to be, the thing is, I think it's going to be just Taker and Lesnar, because, I know that there's some folks who have been saying that, maybe Rollins will face Triple H at SummerSlam, and this is probably the mark in me talking, because he's my all-time favorite. But I wouldn't mind seeing Triple H and Rollins. But again, I could definitely see where people would be just all over that, no, this is terrible, don't do it, blah blah blah. But a triple threat would be neat, because, again, with the exception for the match that they had in the UK 2.5 years ago now, Rollins has never faced Taker. So that could also be something. Mm-hmm. But I would say those are really the only two routes they can take right now. If they're going to do Taker and Lesnar, I think they should at least make it no holds barred or something like that, so Taker's not very limited.
Yeah.
So that way, he can do a bunch of rest holds. So that way, and use a chair or whatever. So yeah, definitely. I mean, really, those are really the two routes I could just see them taking.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying Triple H, and I can definitely see where... I mean, I want to see that match too. I think the only issue with it right now is that I could have seen it a month or two ago when they were teasing tension. They had the two come face to face and whatever, and I know he's still using the pedigree, but they really haven't teased that same tension in the last month before maybe Money in the Bank. I think, Money in the Bank, and they just kind of stopped it cold turkey, and they haven't done anything with them since. If they continue that, maybe it would have made more sense. But right now, anyway, feels like it's, I don't want to say way too soon, but I feel like it's a match better saved for WrestleMania, but that kind of gets in the way of the Shield triple threat that everyone wants to see, myself included. But so I don't know what you do with it. I just feel like right now, we have 5 weeks, maybe something happens, but I feel like right now it might be too soon to be doing that match. Not that I don't want to see it. I think it'd be a great match. It makes sense. Maybe you turn... I'd rather see Triple H go babyface before Rollins. I think Rollins is an amazing heel right now. He's the full-time guy anyway, wrestling-wise. But still, I feel... What was the thing I was going to say in regards to this feud? But maybe the Triple H comes out of retirement for this one. Oh, what I was thinking was that if they...
Out of retirement for the 5th time?
Yeah, for the 5th time, exactly. Like how he retired at SummerSlam a couple years ago when he lost to Brock Lesnar. Look how that turned out. The only way...
retirement for a retirement match.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. How stupid is that? And then what I was thinking was that in regards to this match, that although I don't want to see Triple H and Rollins at SummerSlam, I do want to see it, just not this soon. The only positive is that if it does go down next month, is that if it means the end of the Authority. And now thinking about it, and thinking about
the
it...
the actual end, not just like, oh, we're going to go away for 2 months and then we're going to magically reappear, because...
Exactly. Yeah. Well, in that feud, though, like I mentioned, I think I would put Triple H as the babyface. So there's no way they can get back together. Maybe you could still have the quote unquote authority with Triple H and Stephanie, just not overbearing heel authority figures. That's been done to death and needs to end. And Stephanie already teased the babyface turn last week anyway. I think it's just inconsistency and they just don't care. But I think that'd be, they could kind of go off of that and explain her quote unquote turn last week by saying that. But by turning Triple H too, if they want to do that. And it makes sense because although, like I said, the teased tension between Rollins and Triple H hasn't been there for the last month. It was there before, but it hasn't been since Money in the Bank. The Authority's pretty much done anyway. I mean, Big Show is still there, but Kane got taken out. J&J Security are gone. And then that's pretty much it. So if they wanted to turn them babyface and do away with the Authority, that's the only positive that I could see for right now anyway. And I would take the Authority over, Logic or whatever any day. Because, I'd take Logic over the Authority any day because I don't want to see the Authority anymore. I don't know a lot of people that do. It just needs to end. So, but also in regards to the finish of this pay-per-view, before we finish up here, just one last note. I would be remiss if I didn't mention this in regards to how Battleground 2013 ended in a very similar fashion. The main event ended in a no contest, no official ruling, like you mentioned. Referee was gone. Rollins was gone. Do you think that, not a bad finish, but did that bother you at all? Did you feel like there was a better way they could have done that to make it more decisive? Because I feel like the small stuff like that, if they can at least ring the bell, and I know it would have kind of not ruined the moment, but it would have made sense. While Taker's there, you hear the bell ring, whatever. I don't know what they would have done, but not announcing the finish, going off 15 minutes early, and for a pay-per-view no less. A Raw I get, for a pay-per-view I just didn't understand it. So what were your thoughts on the non-finish of the title match?
Well, we've had, and I think over like the last 2 years, we've had a very small amount of clean finishes on pay-per-views. I think it's a very bad habit of them, but I think I've just gotten so used to it happening that I almost sort of right now I think that you would be a fool to guess this match is going to end clean, shoulders on the ground, 1, 2, 3, or a clear cut tap out. Now these days when there is, I just know now that these days that whenever there is a clean finish in the main event of a pay-per-view, sometimes you gotta backtrack in your mind, wait, was that clean? Were there shoulders on the mat? Was there a foot on the rope? Did the ref actually count to three? And really it's gotten that bad to where people actually do that. And me, that's also something that I do because it's just gotten so ridiculous over the last 2 years, and now it's I'm hoping that we get a clear cut winner at SummerSlam in some main event match, whether if it's Taker or Lesnar or Rollins and Triple H, or if they go down that route of a triple threat or whatever. It would be nice to actually see a clear cut winner, shoulders on the mat, 1, 2, 3, or a tap out or whatever.
And going back in my mind right now, we haven't seen many clean finishes. Like you said, they're very rare on pay-per-view. In the main event of a pay-per-view in the last couple of years. I know we had one at Fastlane, and wow, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of straight up matches, and Fastlane was the last one in at least the last year. I don't even know. In straight up singles or multi-man matches, it's always something like you said, interference. Was there a foot on the rope, a referee bump? It's ridiculous. I know we're in the
look at like every little like aspect of it.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, yeah, and you would never see that, 10, 15, 30, I know, even in the Attitude Era, but before that, and I don't know, it's just ridiculous, and I know we're in the network era where people aren't going to, like in Night of Champions 2013, when Daniel Bryan won with a quick count, and the next night they stripped him of the title, and they were offering people refunds, which was the dumbest thing ever, just stuff like that, and I know they can kind of, quote-unquote, get away with it, because it's their network. You're only paying $10. It shouldn't matter. Well, it does, because if you feel cheated out of a pay-per-view of a main event of a pay-per-view, then why should I tune into the next pay-per-view main event to see what happens if it's going to end like that?
$10 or $50, money's money.
Exactly. I understand why they wanted to protect Lesnar. I'm glad they didn't beat him, but that's nothing. It's so simple. All you have to do is just ring the bell. That you just ring the bell. You don't even have to make an announcement. I mean, that'd be nice, but just ring the bell to signify the match is over. Don't end the match, or just have like Roman Reigns and Sheamus a couple weeks ago. We had Reigns run to the back to find his daughter, and then Sheamus was in the ring. They didn't do a count out. They did a count out the next time they faced off, but the first time he ran to the back and they went to commercial. Like, is the match still go? Is Lesnar and Rollins still happening right now? I'm not sure, and I guess we'll find out tonight on Raw. And like you mentioned before, Rollins is still missing, as is the referee. So we're not sure how he is, and hopefully someone checks up on him. But other than that, though, I'm not going to complain. I feel like that was a great way to go out the show at the Undertaker, and definitely closed off a very entertaining event, to say the least. So what were your overall thoughts on Battleground last night before we wrap it up?
Battleground overall, like I said, I would probably put it in the line of I would say ever since Mania, we've just had consistently good shows. Like Mania itself was great. Extreme Rules was solid. Payback was solid. Chamber was a fun show. Money in the Bank was also that was also good, and Battleground was good too. So we've had consistent good shows. So Battleground last night. If I had to go with a series rating out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7. It was good.
I think it was good. I definitely agree. I feel like most of the pay-per-views this year, not every single one has been stellar, but it's not like last year or the year before where we have those complete shit shows. Like, why did I just waste my time watching that? For the most part, we've had good to great shows this year, very solid year for WWE, and it's only going to get better with SummerSlam right around the corner in just 34 more days. Can't wait for it. But as
New York is to be next month.
What was that?
I said, Brooklyn Brooklyn is the location to be next month.
Oh yeah, NXT. You got Ring of Honor that same weekend, and
Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and then SummerSlam that weekend. Yeah, NXT TakeOver that Saturday. It's gonna be nuts. It's been a pretty good summer so far for WWE.
Fan heaven right there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's wrestling fan heaven. So it's going to be a crazy weekend. I'll be at SummerSlam that Sunday, but yeah, New York City is it's going to be hot. Brooklyn's going to be hopping in that weekend. So hopefully you can come on down from Canada and join in on the fun.
I fucking wish. I'm not going to lie. Oh my God, if I could hop on a plane next week, and it's like, okay, you're staying here till after Raw's done, I'll be like, you know what, do it. Get me out of here for a good month. Get me down to Brooklyn. Have fun. Friggin' just. Going to Raw was really fun. My first show back in May, but if that spot is going to be the permanent location for the next few years for SummerSlam, like they did with with Los Angeles, then one of these years, man, I'm telling you, I'm there.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of, you said you were at that Raw in May, right? Was that the May 4th show?
Yes. That was the show where Sami Zayn was there to face Cena.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The Rollins and Ambrose match. That was a really good show. You were lucky for that night.
That was, oh my God. I'm telling you, I've seen Slipknot live. I've seen System of a Down live. I have never been a part of anything that was more deafening than when Sami Zayn came out. That place was on fire.
Wow.
I had a pounding headache, but I was happy to have that headache. I'm not going to lie.
That's a good kind of headache.
Exactly.
That's crazy. That was I would go so far to say that was probably one of, if not the best Raw so far this year. And it's not like we're in February where it's kind of like, oh, best of 6 Raws so far. We're in July, and I mean, there's not many Raws. I mean, last week was pretty good. Maybe tonight too. We'll find out. But I don't know, that Raw. Well, it was like one of the best of the year with that debut, that match, and also the match between Rollins and Ambrose and everything else that happened that night. That was damn good show.
I'm saying this now. Once the Slammies roll around, I'm saying now, like, any moment that's like, if like any match or moment from that Raw is up 4-1, I'm gonna mark and just say, like, I was there for that shit. Cannot deny this. I was there for that, and I'm very happy, and I won an award for it.
Exactly. They should be issuing everyone in the audience an award for being a part of that moment.
Oh, exactly. I would love that.
That's what they should have done with the what was it, the Crowd of the Year a couple years ago when the night after WrestleMania won. They didn't get any awards.
Yeah, that's right. They did do that. Yeah.
Yeah, they should have given that. That was a great. You guys were a great crowd that night too. That was in Montreal, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah, Canada crowds are always great, but Montreal's awesome too. But yeah, that was a great show. But speaking of pay-per-views in Canada, hopefully you guys get another pay-per-view soon. It's been way too long.
If we get one in Montreal, I'm going. I don't care what it is. It could be freaking Night of Champions or Hell in a Cell. I don't care. It's happening.
Yeah. It has to happen soon. I don't know why they haven't. I mean, they used to do one. I mean, watching old pay-per-views back in the network and stuff, they'd go there once, sometimes twice a year for pay-per-views.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
nuts.
What
happened?
I have no idea. I guess Vince just likes to make fun of us. But I think the last pay-per-view we had here was Breaking Point.
Yeah, and I think that was in Montreal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was, 6 years ago?
Oh, God, yeah. 09, I think.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, I get why, people will say, myself included, they should hold pay-per-views or even Raws, let alone at the Madison Square Garden, New York City, but I understand, I guess it costs way too much money to run a show there, a televised show that is.
Really?
So, yeah, I guess so. I guess that's the reason why they don't do shows there anymore. I guess they lose money more than they profit off of it, but
yeah.
I haven't heard it. I mean, it's Canada is not a building. It's a country. There's no reason why you can't run a show in any city.
Exactly.
Yeah, so hopefully they go back to Toronto or Montreal or something in the very near future because you guys need a pay-per-view. It's well overdue.
It's actually funny. They actually aired an ad because I think they're going back there for a live event in September, which I'm not going to that because I'm not traveling I'm not traveling by plane just for a freaking live event.
Yeah.
But when they actually announced that they were coming back in September, the crowd was actually chanting pay-per-view.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not just a couple people in Canada want. It's like, no, that city wants one.
Yeah. It's been
So,
way too
hopefully
long.
Vince listened that night because Vince was actually there too, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Vince McMahon."
Oh, was he there? What part of the show was he on?
Right after Raw was finished, they did the Pat Patterson tribute.
Oh yeah. That was great too. Yeah, I saw highlights of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Vince was out there, and of course Brett and Triple H, and then Pat was out there as well. And then by the end of it, they actually had the whole roster come out on stage. So it's like, oh my God, I don't get to see just like a few
Yeah.
guys. I get to see the whole thing. I'm like, man, this is sweet.
Yeah, that's crazy. You get a little extra bonus there too.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But you mentioned the live event too. I made that same mistake. Well, not mistake, but I almost went to a live event a couple weeks ago in Boston. I live in Connecticut, so yeah, like I didn't have to travel via plane, but I would have taken a couple hours to get there, and it was like it's a live event on a Friday. I'm like, I'm not gonna go, and then the fucking Rock shows up of all people.
Oh
so.
God, that was the show where the Rock was there.
That was the show. I was so pissed because I was gonna go to SmackDown in January, and that same arena, and the tickets Well, the show got canceled because we had a huge-ass snowstorm that week, so they gave me free tickets to that show, and I took my money back. I got a refund, but I'm like, I'm not driving up for a fucking live event, and then The Rock shows up. But so hopefully,
I would have driven a night for The Rock. You kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. If I find out he's going to be there beforehand, I definitely would have driven. That would have been crazy. But hopefully Goldberg doesn't come back at your live event or anything like that. Hopefully not. You're missing out a huge moment there.
Yeah.
With that said, man, thanks for coming on. Always great talking to you. But before I let you go, the people can find you on Twitter at Jamie Lee Mack. You're on every single week, the weekly wrestling talk show. You can listen to all your thoughts in there and the rest of the crew as well. And where else can the people find you, man?
No, I think that's it, really. Those handles there. So, yeah.
Sweet dude. So people can find you on the Twitter at Jamie Lee Mack. Find all your thoughts. Follow all your thoughts on Raw and all. Hopefully WWE. What was that?
All of my exciting thoughts.
Much like the rest of us. I mean, Raw is tonight. This is going up on Tuesday, but even still, for Raw this upcoming week and whatever else, people can find you in there. Listen to all your thoughts on the Wrestling Radio Talk Show, weekly wrestling talk show. Is that correct? I always botch that. I know it's WWE. I know the acronym in my mind. I know WWTS, but I always botch the name itself for whatever reason. But they can find you on there. It's great to talk to you, man. Always awesome having you on.
All right, thank you very much, Graham.
No problem, dude. Have a good night. I'll catch you down the road.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, man.
Thanks once again to Jamie for coming on for a great episode, a great conversation. Always appreciate having him on the show. And as for me, you guys can find me on the Twitter at WrestleRant, on Facebook at facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Make sure to check out this very website, nextairwrestling.net, for my full written reviews of Battleground, Raw, SmackDown, Impact Wrestling, NXT, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, and so much more. And that's going to about do it. There was really not much more to be said other than this one big announcement. Next week, right here on the show, we got an exclusive interview with recently eliminated Tough Enough contestant Gabby. She will be on the show next week to talk about her elimination, her experience on the show, how she got on the show, her drama with Amanda, fellow contestant. I mean, I've not shied away from saying I've enjoyed the show so far. A lot of people have said they have not. That's completely cool, but we're talking to Gabby next week all about her Tough Enough experience. It's a conversation you're not going to want to miss. So again, guys, have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you folks next Tuesday.